YouTube, how's it going? Today we're going to be going into another episode of our 7-round mock draft series, heading on over to Carolina to do the Carolina Panthers, obviously, and this is going to be a fun one because there's so much talk about what they're going to do at 6. Are they staying? Are they trading out? Are they taking offensive line help? Are they getting a quarterback? What might be the move? Maybe, this after 6, it's a long way till their next pick. I think their next pick is in the 4th round, so a lot of options to do. So if you guys are excited for this mock draft and for the series, please be sure to show love and leave a like down below. It really does help out a ton. We are hitting 900 subscribers as I speak, so thank you so much for that. Let's try and get to 1K. Obviously, it's a far ways away, but hopefully we can do that as well, of course, by subscribing and turning those notification bells on. But without further ado, we're going to get into this. This is new to this mock draft, and we're going to see how it shows and if it's liked or not. But we're going to go over the team and just show the current mock, or the current, I guess it is mock, depth chart of next season, and just kind of go over it a little bit. So, on offense, obviously you have Sam Darnold as the quarterback with Christian McCaffrey and Chuba Hubbard as a running back duo there. D'Onta Foreman is there as well. Sam Darnold is the big question. Are you keeping him? Are you moving on from him? You look at the offensive line, Taylor Moton, Austin Corbett's a big signing. That was a really good one. Bradley Bozeman, Pat Elflein, Cameron Irving. Where are you moving on from there? The offensive line was very putrid last year. You got to get better. Can you get better there? Cam Irving definitely can be upgraded. Do you really want to keep Bozeman, Elflein? I think Corbett is pretty much the only staple. Moton is probably the next best thing as well. But then at the receiver, you just extended DJ Moore, who's a stud. Robbie Anderson had a down year. Terrace Marshall did not have a rookie year that people thought he would. Rashard Higgins, can you get what Cleveland got out of him or even more? Other than that, nothing too much to say there. And then at tight end, Tommy Tremble and Ian Thomas are there with Steven Sullivan. Are any of those guys in your future plans? That's really up for debate. Then you look at the defensive side. Defensive line is stacked with Gross Matos, Ioannidis, Derek Brown, Brian Burns. That is a very good defensive line. Looking at the linebacker core, you got C.J. Henderson, Corey Littleton, Damian Wilson, Shaq Thompson. I mean, that is a very good linebacker core. I don't know why I said Henderson, but C.J. Henderson and J.C. Horn are both going to be at the corner. They got Dante Jackson back as well. Rashawn Melvin is still there. Troy Pride is a young corner. A lot of good guys there. And then at safety, you got Xavier Woods and Jeremy Chin. So, ironically, I don't really see much of any holes on this defensive side of the football. If there are, it's very much just kind of adding some depth to the team. But other than that, I really do like the defensive side of the ball. Offense is very much going to be the focus for their offseason, this mock draft, and the draft in general. So, without further ado, we are going to get right into this with pick number 6. Here at pick number 6, we're going to be taking Malik Willis, the quarterback, out of Liberty. He's the prototype current quarterback. He's got a strong arm, he's mobile, and he has all the leadership qualities. That's what we see in the best of the best in the NFL today. Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, all these guys, Aaron Rodgers, they have strong arms, they can run the ball, and they have leadership qualities that can't be defined by statistics. So you look at those things and you check every box with Malik Willis. He's able to do all of those things. The accuracy can definitely use some work, but that's going to take some growing pains. It happens with every NFL quarterback as a rookie. That's why rookies aren't usually the best quarterbacks in the league. It just doesn't happen as quickly as that because there's going to be growing pains. You look at Josh Allen. He came in and people really knocked his accuracy, and he was not accurate. Now, 2-3 years later, we're talking about him being arguably the best quarterback in football. So it's a quick change around. I think he's more pro-ready than a lot of people want to admit. I think that, he transferred from Auburn to Liberty, so it's not like he's just this small school quarterback. He definitely was good enough to be at one of the bigger schools, but he chose to move on to Liberty with the Bo Nix situation. He's got 79 overall next-gen grade, which basically the next-gen grade is they combine, athletic traits and combine and stuff, and they compare that with their college production, and they come up with a grade for them as well. So next gen grade 79, which is a very good grade for Malik Willis. This is the new franchise caller. We saw the impact that Cam Newton had in Carolina, and now it's Malik Willis's turn to be that franchise quarterback for the Panthers. Now, all the way down at pick 137, you got Max Mitchell, the offensive tackle from Louisiana, being the selection here. 75 overall grade from Next Gen, which is a very good grade for a guy at this point in the draft. He had 40-plus starts in college. He could play either left tackle or right tackle. So you look at the line, I'd play him over Irving. I think he might be starting right away. This is a guy who I really think can be a sleeper in this draft. And you're going to see a lot of guys in this draft class that I'm going to talk about who should be talked about a little bit more than their draft capital says. But Max Mitchell is a guy who, he's been moving up and down boards all offseason. Getting him here at 137, if he's there, would be an absolute steal. He was there for us when we did our mock draft, so that is what we're going to take there. Again, just being able to fill in that offensive line and help out and probably be a starter day one, I think that's a perfect situation here for pick 137. Sorry to interrupt the video, but I just want to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy really quick. The NFL season's over, but you could still draft a new fantasy team on Underdog Fantasy and win cash prizes. They have a slick mobile app and a user-friendly site. You can also join a league and draft a team in minutes. Plus, the folks at Underdog are helping you guys out that are watching the video by matching up to $100 on your first deposit for new users when you use code SORMANI, SORMANI. So just go to UnderdogFantasy.com or go download the App Store or the Google Play Store. Sign up with the code SORMANI, that's SORMANI, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit all the way up into $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SORMANI, SORMANI. Now let's get back to this video. Moving on to pick 144, we have the interior offensive lineman Dohnovan West out of Arizona State with a next-gen grade of 66, which is still a very solid grade at 144. He played center most of his time at ASU, but I do believe he can transition to guard, or you look at it, he can be drafted at this spot and be quality depth, learn the position and become better at that position. And that could be his ceiling, being a quality backup, filling in for injuries, and that is not a bad role, especially for a guy drafted at 144. But, can he win a starting job? I think every spot on this offensive line is going to be for the taking and just for the best 5 players that play in the training camp and preseason, because this is an offensive line that did not work last year. You need to find something that does. So adding Dohnovan West is going to be either a very high quality depth purposes or a possible starter for the future. Moving on to pick 149, we have Romeo Doubs out of Nevada, the wide receiver, who was a really high day 2 pick. Some people even had him sneaking into the first round early on, like very early on, before the season even ended in mock drafts. And his offseason just was not up to par with what the expectations were, and he has fallen down boards pretty far. But he's still a big play waiting to happen. He's got agility. He's got great route running. He's got good size. He's able to break off defenders. I think he's going to fit very well in an offense like Carolina, especially with a new quarterback in Malik Willis, filling in that probably receiver 4 or 5 role to start off the season. I'd probably put him behind Higgins to start the season unless he has a great preseason. But you look at it, Terrace Marshall did not have a great rookie season. Robbie Anderson had a down year, so there's possibility if Doubs can show that, hey, just because my grading and my offseason wasn't as great as it was doesn't mean my production on the field is. If he's able to go onto the field and show how great of a talent he can be, I could see him being all the way up to wide receiver 2 if he can show that talent. He's a next-gen grade of 72, which is very high for a guy at this spot in the draft. So I really like this pick here for Carolina, increasing that depth and getting more weapons for a young quarterback in Malik Willis. Now at pick 199, we have Matt Hankins, corner out of Iowa. Did not have a next-gen grade. He was not at the combine, but he is a super senior, and that makes him ready to play day 1. Some view him as a potential steal of this class, which, again, we're talking about steals, and we're going to talk about one more after this one. With injuries and a bunch of question marks at the corner position in Carolina, getting Hankins at worst is going to make him a contributing special teams player, which is too good to pass up at this spot in the draft to get a guy who's going to be as talented and have as high of an IQ as he is to be a special teamer. But also, again, those injuries and those question marks at corner, this is a guy who might get his way onto the field at that corner spot and show you what he can do. So Matt Hankins, I'm very much a fan of at this point in the draft. I think he could be a potential steal and a potential solid corner in the NFL at that next level. 199, I think that's a perfect pick for Carolina. Then last but not least, here all the way down at pick 242, I got the Panthers selecting Amaré Barno out of Virginia Tech, an edge rusher, a next-gen grade of 65, which is crazy because he had an amazing combine, and I mean it, an amazing combine. So for his grade to be a 65 after that, it really shows what the production and such can not be pretty much. But athletically, Barno is one of one at the position. He truthfully, I mean, he ran, I think it was a 4.7 or something at the position, like something crazy, 4.5. Like he ran one of the fastest times at the position. But sadly, many see him just as that, as a combine warrior, not really a true talent. But that's a lot of untapped potential with all that athleticism, and he could really be a steal in the late round if you can get him to hone in on those skills at the position. And gratefully for the Carolina Panthers, you have a great front four that he can learn from. Yes, they're young, but very, very talented. So learning from guys like Ioannidis and Brown and Gross Matos and Brian Burns, and not having to play right away. I can definitely see him being more of a backup than the current backups on the rosters and doing a lot more for this team. So why not take a chance on a guy who athletically is gifted and see what you can teach him at that next level and see if hopefully he can be a rotational piece in this defense. That is going to be it for the Carolina Panthers 7-round mock draft. Here are the selections on the board. They are pinned up there and ready to go for next season. I love the pick with Malik Willis, getting him there at 6. Will he fall to 6? That is the question. Teams are looking to trade up for him, as we see, so it might be a move. Will the Panthers even be at 6? That's another question. But right now, in this one, this is one of the first 7-round mock drafts we did not have any trades in. Just didn't see any fit. We got some offers for pick 6. From Houston and from, I believe, Seattle was the other one that offered, but just didn't really like the deals too much. Wasn't too much of a fan, but I'm liking this draft. I think there's a lot of talent to be taken here in this draft class, so getting guys like Max Mitchell and West and Doubs later in the draft is definitely some steals. So going on to this, let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. Is it a great draft? Is it a decent draft? Who would you pick if you were there at pick 6 for the Carolina Panthers? Let me know in the comment section below. But of course, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave it a like. It does help me out a ton. If you didn't, just refresh that page. Let me know what you think about it the second time. And that'll be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.
How you talking 50K? How you talking making plays or just talking? Yeah. I do this shit here on my own time. Time is money, so I did it on my own dime. Word to Bookie, yeah, this homage gave me game. Yeah, he taught me family ties. Quick to back there off me. Nah, I can't wait for you.